am, you know, same as usual. Be a minute or so. I'm looking for something to talk about. I know you said that. This is just like a YouTube.
Yeah.
Try to keep yourselves in one piece. I don't mind an easy ride. Regen up.
Alright, so we talked about high ground positioning before. It's not your job to push point. You'd definitely want your tanks to be pushing point, not you, as you saw
Yeah.
that wasn't very successful, as they were very easily able to push you. As a support, it's not your job to push cart unless you know you're going to receive no contestation, right? So when
Gotcha.
the fight's happening there, right, it's your tank's jobs to push that point. Also probably recommend going top left here, right, giving you the high ground advantage would be very much beneficial. Make sure we're paying attention to our tanks.
Oh gosh, the wrong button.
So
Yeah.
with your lamp there, just make sure you're looking at the floor when you're throwing it. Twice we looked straight forwards. It has to activate off of the ground, right? So if you throw it straight forwards, it's not gonna activate off of anything, right? So you have to throw it at the floor if you're trying to get it to activate.
Okay.
Besides that, make sure you're paying attention to our tanks, because there's twice where we just didn't look at our tanks, and here where Reinhardt goes in again, and we're just, you know, there he gets charged off the edge, but we're not really paying much attention to him. Good immortality field. It's unfortunate. So being on the high ground there would definitely help, right? Again, high ground advantages, I would imagine, in the 8 sessions we've had that we've talked about high grounds before, right? So high ground's fantastic. Want to be looking to take them. Besides that, in that situation, we possibly could have also leapt over the shatter if we knew it was coming, but that's more advanced. Honestly, not gonna. Don't worry too much about that one.
Payload stop. Not exactly what we were going for. Get in here. Observe the barrier. Regen up. Get inside.
Alright, good heals and damage there. Alright, very well played. Maybe only critique that fight would have been maybe like come into the fight using your ult, but besides that, it's fine. Just make sure you're not holding on to it, right? Now, if we're looking to use our ultimate, we want to stick with our team. We don't want to like leap up the high ground by ourselves. That would be preferable. And then another thing is when we're looking to use our ultimate, make sure there's people to actually be ulting. Now, Reinhardt did get a fire strike on 2 people there, so it ended up working out, but it might have been better to wait for them to, like, for example, drop out of the high ground before you start ulting, right? Because you want them to be on the open where you can shoot them very easily.
The payload has reached the checkpoint.
Welcome to Junkertown.
Activating the barrier.
Cease your resistance.
Alright, so there are bad times to take high grounds and bad ways to take high grounds, right? High grounds isn't always fantastic, right? So in that situation, on being on the high ground, probably say you didn't want to be on the high ground for 2 reasons, well, or one reason, main reason, and you couldn't see your team from there, right? You were incapable of participating and healing your team and using Immortality, which is a major part of your kit. Additionally, you also walked out into the open on the high ground.
Regen burst activated.
Unfortunate. In that situation, might be looking to like back out and regroup since we don't have like 2 of our teammates there with us.
Well, it could be worse. Thank you.
Helden sterben nicht.
And make sure we're paying attention to tab and like where's our team at, because one, we're not with our team, and two, we were walking in without our team, right?
Yeah.
Now.
Healing enough.
Enemies loading.
وريهم قوتك.
Get in here.
It's just a scratch.
You're fully healed. Regen up.
All right, have we talked about overhealing in the past?
Probably on.
Yeah, we can talk about it after game is done.
Regen burst activated. Much better. Get in here.
All right, so yeah, a bunch of things to talk about.
An enemy's being revived. Let them out.
Pretty good placement and timing. I like it.
It was you or me. Do it again. Get in here. Regen up. Step inside. Stay alive.
60 seconds.
Come on, fire.
Okay, good shift usage. There, make sure paying attention to our surroundings, as we didn't notice the Reaper was on top of us for like 3 seconds, and
Yeah.
Mercy was to our side, like to our right, and we maybe could have shot at her, and we didn't really seem to notice her until she was already flying away. So there in that situation, I think there are a couple awareness problems. Besides that, good job keeping up your Reinhardt, and I like the window usage as well. Oh, keep shooting at the Mercy there. She was 1 HP, right? Want to just finish off that kill?
The payload moves towards its predicted outcome. Get in here. All better. For now. I thought you needed a help. That melody.
So how high do you have to jump to go over that?
To get over the shatter, well, you have
Yeah.
to know it's coming, right? And you basically predict, right? If you're at the if you're at the very front of the shatter, you're not going to be able to react to it in time. If you're at the very back end of the shatter, right, so you're like far away from him, you might be able to react to it if you do it fast enough. But most of the time, it comes down to predicting and knowing that the shatter is coming, and then you would be able to leap over top of the shatter.
You all look like you need some healing.
Right on me.
Alright, so awareness, right? Paying attention to our environment keeps us alive there. Possibly coming in and ulting faster, right? Remembering that ults that are used first get more value than ults that are used second. Don't know if have we reviewed that concept before?
Yeah, yeah.
60 seconds remaining.
So we've had a couple fights so far. I think 2 fights where we just didn't use ultimates. So making sure we're not holding on to them.
Like Newton and the Horns and Crusaders. Let them out. Get in here.
Okay. A little slow to throw the immortality for the Reinhardt, right? Watch for that. We'll talk more on that after this game is done of how do we know when to use immortality. Alright, gotta keep our ears open for the tire.
Christmas tire?
Right, yeah, when we hear it, split up from your teammates. we can as well look to like jump away from that. Like for example, if we leapt up to the high ground, that gets us away and just splits us up from our teammates, so they don't end up killing two of us, right? They only ever end up killing one person, right? Don't hop into a game quite yet. You have fast enough queues to where we can, just wait till we're done here in training range. So
Okay.
we're gonna go over a bunch of different things if you'd like to take a look.
Dying on my
Yeah.
watch.
So firstly, let's discuss when and how, or particularly when do we look to use your shift usage. So when do we want to use this? I don't think this was terrible, but I think maybe like half of the time we used it, we ended up not using it correctly. So shift usage basically comes down to you use it when it's needed. So there's 3 times when it is needed. When you need healing, so you're low and you need healing, and you don't really maybe like you don't want to have to worry about having another person heal you or whatever, right? So when you need healing, when you have a teammate who needs burst healing, so if somebody is low health and you want to burst their health up, so that means like they're critical and they're maybe in danger, and you want to heal them up really, really fast, if you heal them with your regular fire and your shift at the same time, that heals them twice as fast, right? And then the third time is when like you just have a big group of teammates who need healing, right? Now there were some times when we used it when just nobody needs healing at all, and that's just definitely not the time to be using it. And in fact, that's called overhealing, when you heal people when they're already full HP and they don't really need it at all. Right, and then we also did that as well, which is with our normal primary fire, right? Or I guess technically secondary fire on Baptiste, right? Where we just, would continue to right click into teammates when they're already full HP. And this is mainly wasted time with some wasted resources as well. If you're wasting this, it's wasting an ability. Oh, so that 13 seconds, not 10 seconds. That's my bad. I think I was thinking of the range as 10 meters, not. So I got that wrong. But in any case, right? In that, if we waste this, it's a wasted ability. If we waste right clicks, it's just wasted ammo. So that then we get down to 3, and then now you have a Reinhardt who's critical, and you're like, oh snap, I'm gonna have to reload now, and now Reinhardt's dead, and that time I reload, right? So it's wasted ammo, wasted ability, right? But then also on top of that, it's largely wasted time, where we're just kind of not really doing anything at all when you could be doing something else. So instead of excuse me. So instead of continuing to right-click people who are full HP, right, pay attention to their health bars, and then when they are full HP, you are going to, on Baptiste, just swap over to damaging, right? You want to just swap over damage. You can also look, another option is, you have a lot of different options, right? You can swap to damage. You can look around for somebody else who needs healing. Is anybody else critical on our team, right? One thing else that we need to pay attention to with awareness was just there were a lot of times, especially where our tanks would just like die right next to us and we just didn't notice them until it's too late, right? So paying attention to our teammates is something we can do instead of overhealing, right? If we're just continuing to overheal this person over here, then these guys, we're not paying attention to them and they're dead, right? So don't overheal when we could be seeing, oh, he's full HP, let's look over here now. Oh, these guys are full HP, let's look around a little bit more, right? So that ended up taking, I saw like, one fight where we just kind of, we literally just kind of sat there for like over 10 seconds, just kind of doing this into him when like when everybody was like full HP, right? Additional things, right click usage. When you're going to use right click, you want to be hitting direct shots, as that is going to be doing more healing than indirect shots, AoE shots. I think sometimes we aim purposely at the floor, and that's not what we want to be doing, as you just do a lot more healing when you hit somebody directly than when you hit the floor. Do I know the exact numbers? I think it might be like, actually, I don't know if I know the direct numbers for how much healing it does, but in any case, it's a lot more, right? Besides that, how you should be aiming with your gun is at people's feet. We don't want to aim at the floor in between their feet. We want to aim at their feet. This way, if we were to miss, it still hits and we still get the AoE effect, and we still hit them. Whereas if we aim up here and we miss, well, now it just goes sailing past them and nobody gets it, right? So
Gotcha.
aim at the floor. That way this happens, it's very difficult to even miss them, right? But if we do hit them, we still get all the direct benefits. Right, now immortality usage, how to use it, when to use it. When to use it is the most important, is the big starter, right? I'd probably say during that last game we had maybe like 2 good immortalities or so, right? A lot of them just kind of didn't really do very much. When it comes to using immortality, the biggest 2 criteria are they low and are they in danger, right? We might have gone over that if we've gone over Ana before. I don't know if we have at
No,
all.
we haven't
But
gone over that
yeah.
yet.
I don't
So,
think you're
low
going
and in
to
danger,
make it.
right? They're 2 different things. Somebody can be critical HP and not in danger. I can be critical HP and sitting over here around the corner, and I'm not in danger because nobody is looking at me or shooting at me. Therefore, you would not need an immortality in this situation. Or, for that matter, like,
How about a
shift
little
heal,
extra
right?
healing?
And then the other criteria is danger, right? I can be in the middle of their team and be full HP and be in danger, right? So those are the 2 criteria. You don't want to immortality if they're just in danger, or it depends. Sometimes you can if they're just in danger, like for example a bomb. Like you see a diva bomb and you see that they're in danger. They might not be low, but that danger criteria would take over. But in most situations, it's are they low and are they in danger, right? Because if they're just in danger, then you might not need immortality, and if they're just low, then you might not need immortality. So look for those 2 criteria, right? Sometimes we just kind of toss them in there when they didn't really do anything, and then also a lot of times we just didn't identify when people were lower and in danger. We'd have we'd be in a fight and there'd be like a critical HP Reinhardt sitting in front of us, and the enemy team's like all shooting at him, and we wouldn't immortality, right? So we want to look to use it in situations like that. How to use it, placement of it. We've already talked a ton extensively about good positioning is the usage of cover, bad positioning is the absence of cover. This exact same concept applies to your lamp usage. If you put lamp out in the open right here, well, now everybody can see at it and everybody can shoot at it, and it goes down very, very fast. Whereas if we were to throw it around the corner, well, now none of them can see it or shoot at it, which extends the duration significantly, and it means it stays up the entire duration and gets its max value, right? Let's see what else is there. Yeah, make sure we're throwing it at the floor. Don't try to throw it a mile away. Let's see. If you ever do have to throw it a mile away, a useful tech for that is if you right click, it follows the exact same projectile path as your right click, so you can actually see where it's gonna go if you ever do need to throw it very far away.
That was
Um,
satisfying.
Reviewing Baptiste positioning real quick. I don't think let's talk about a couple of the criterion for positioning, because whenever you're positioning, you want to think through a bunch of different boxes. Now, I don't think we've talked about any of the boxes, but certain supports have what you call like check boxes you want to check off with your positioning. On Baptiste, those 2 boxes are 1, can I see my team, right? You need to be able to see your team so you can help them and support them. And 2 is, can the enemy team see me if I'm trying to heal, right? Like if I am just sitting here healing my teammates, why would I stand here when they can all shoot at me when I could just stand here, right, and have nobody shoot at me, right? So you want to look to check off those 2 boxes, but it goes, and those are the Baptiste like specific ones or the support specific ones, but there's a lot of other ones that go into it, right? Like, do I have cover? Can I see my team? Can the enemy team see me? Do I have a high ground, right? So looking to check off all these different boxes, whereas sometimes, like, one of the fights we went to high ground when none of our teammates were high ground and we couldn't see any of our teammates, and then another fight all of our teammates were on high ground and we weren't on high grounds, right? So make sure you're following around your team. On that note, Baptiste likes to play very close to people. Make sure you're playing close to your team if at all possible, right? Your shift usage has a range of 10 meters, right? So it's not going to do anything outside of 10 meters. Your right click and your immortality are both projectiles by nature, which means they're going to be much more difficult to accurately land at distances, and it is also going to have a delayed time till it reaches them. So if we try to heal somebody, it's going to be slower healing. We try to immortality, slower immortality the further away we go, and it's going to be less accurate, which means more chance for error. And then we also cannot use immortality when we're far away from our team to give, for them at the very least, right? Not immortality, our ultimate window when we're far away from our team. So look to play close to our team. Last thing, high ground positioning. Not all high ground positioning is created equal, right? There are times where you do not want to be on high ground, such as if you are a mile away from your team, or such as if you do not have line of sight on your team, right? Also, when you're on a high ground, make sure we're still respecting cover usage, right? If we're standing right here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people can see us. We cannot shoot at 5 people all at the same time. They can't all shoot at us at the same time, right? So we, in this case, would just back up away from the ledge, add in a crouch, and now it's only one person that can see us, right? We move to the left, again, only one person can see us, right? Same thing, 4 people, just come to the side real quick. Now it's one person, right? So all to say, a couple times we went up to high ground, but then we didn't really use it too well. We just kind of sat right next to the edge where everybody could see us. I think I have one more thing, and then you can look to go ahead and get in queue. Apologies for like the super long training range stuff here.
No worries.
Yeah. So I think have we ever talked about target priority before?
Yeah.
Okay, never mind. We don't need to talk about that
Easiest
then.
easiest things to kill. DPS are probably the best first options.
DPS and supports.
Yeah.
Yep. I mean, those guys. It really depends on which ones, because you can. I mean, I wouldn't say that all supports are harder to kill than DPS, right? Like you have If you compare Tracer to Ana, I'd say Ana's much easier to kill. If you compare Torbjorn to, I don't know, Lucio, might say Torbjorn's easier to kill, right? Compare, I don't know, Moira to Hanzo. Hanzo's easier to kill, right? So it really depends on what supports and what DPS you're talking about. But tanks overall, they are the hardest things to kill, right? Flat up. There are some harder characters in other categories, right? Like I might say Lucio and like Tracer and whatnot get up there to being on their level. But for the most part, they all top the charts, right? So just keep that in mind, as a couple times, like, we had, like, Mercy, we'd have, like, Mercy fly by us on multiple occasions, and we would just sit there shooting at the Orisa in front of us, right? So make sure we're keeping that in mind as we're shooting at things. Baptiste is not primarily DPS centric, but he does have some DPS in him. He is maybe, I would say, around like 60 to it really depends on the game and how much your team is taking, but around the range of like 40% damage, 60% healing, around that range. So make sure you're looking to damage when applicable, and you can look to go ahead and get a new game here.
All right.
And that'll make sense, yeah.
Yes.
Alrighty. One other thing I would recommend taking a look at, this is actually one I have to remind myself to use when I play Baptiste, because I'm not in the habit of doing it, but you can actually, I don't remember what the term for this is, but basically you can both shoot and heal at the same time, and this maximizes output sometimes. So you can, like, for example, if you have a whole team in front of you and an enemy team in front of you, right, we can be basically holding down both the buttons at the same time and be damaging while also healing, right? So you just press both buttons at the same time. I don't think it matters which one you press first, right? Yeah, it does not matter which one you press first at all. You just basically hold down both buttons. If you need to, you'd like look down for every other second, right? So you just kind of go like this, look down, oh, messed that one up, right? So you just kind of get into the rhythm of it. Is another useful techie thingy to get used to. It's not going to be applicable like if your team, because it will, I believe it will, yeah, it will drastically slow down your healing output. So if you are trying to heal or DPS primarily, this is just kind of when you're in spam mode, if that makes sense. Okay, I'm spectating you.
Welcome to Oasis.
Oh, it looks like your game started. Did you see what I was doing or not?
No, I didn't.
Okay.
It's already.
Yeah, just let me know that. Because I can just save it till afterwards if I know. Alright, here probably be a good idea to just hop right up to where D.Va's at, right? Charge it up a little bit more. This way we just have good visibility over everything. I think it's a really good immortality. Shift usage to keep your diva up. You know, you just want to get her up fast there. Yep, so to review some of the benefits of being on high ground, right? High ground gives you visibility over like the entire fight. You can see everything from there. It gives you survivability because you have the whole thing acts as cover usage as long as you're using said cover. And on top of that, most characters on their team can't reach you. So if you press tab, Moria can't get you, Hog can't get you, Reinhardt can't get you, Reaper needs to use an ability, right? So, and then Hanzo needs to run over to you, right? So, a lot of extra survivability as well. Uh oh, my bad on talking over your fight, but
No, it's
make
fine.
sure we're paying attention to the Reaper. Potentially, we can be shooting at him
Behind me.
sooner. We can be jumping away from him. Right, I'd like to get us used to the idea of jumping away from danger and jumping to high grounds. You're not going to be jumping 24/7, but it does have its uses if you have like a Reaper on top of you.
All better for now.
Okay, coming into this fight, looking to use our ultimate. Alright, making sure we're not holding on to that.
Let them up.
Right, again, awareness, right, is a big part of that, right? So I think, have we discussed survivability in the past, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we've talked about
Not my time.
paying attention to why are we dying, right? Thinking through that for every death we have so that we can look to fix them and stop those deaths from happening. Here, and a lot of our deaths have been awareness deaths, where we just don't notice somebody's on top of us until it's too late, right? So keeping our ears open, listening, watching, that way we have good awareness for our environment. Okay, and whenever we get the chance here, we would rotate to the top of the middle. Yeah, Brian, I went a little far. Not much you can do there.
Fully healed. Let me show you how it's done. Regen up.
Make sure we're reloading when there's nothing else to do. Oh, backfill game. Sucks.
Yeah.
Alright, so you,
Already like 6 people leaving whenever you.
yeah, that sucks.
Yeah. Okay, you want to show me what you were talking
Yeah,
about?
go ahead and queue up because it's just one tech, so you can queue while I'm showing you this. So this is basically just holding down both of your buttons at once, and you do this when you can actively have both people in front of you. So basically, you're just going to be healing while shooting. Right? This is particularly when you're like kind of in spam mode. It will slow down. I believe it will slow down both of your fires. So you need to make sure that you're doing this only if you're not needed to be primarily doing anything. It's mainly your spammy mode. You can also like look if they're in front of you and they need healing, you can just look straight at them. If you're trying to like heal the group, then you might need to like look down look down every other shot. I'm not doing it right here. Wait one moment. You might need to look down like every other shot so you can hit the floor with it, right? Sorry, I'm terrible with this. I haven't done this like ever, so alright, there we go.
Yeah, it looks like something you definitely need to practice.
Yeah.
You know, like I think I'll have to practice with Baptiste a lot more.
Yeah, you gotta get the rhythm down for it, but you can also honestly just like I said, look at them if they need healing, and if they don't need healing, then you just stop healing, right? Yeah, I'm spectating.
Okay, I see what you're saying. So it
Moving up.
definitely slows down at least the grenade. I don't know about
Yep. Yeah. So if you're primarily trying to heal, I mean, even if you're primarily trying to shoot, then you just be wasting your grenades, right? Here, high ground probably wouldn't be doing too much for you. It's not too much of a use being up there because aren't gonna get too much value from it. Now, like this back high ground might be good, but you're also your team's holding close, so you probably will just want to be on the corner. In all honesty, might be a little bit closer to them, right? Because you want to be within range of like all of your abilities and whatnot, like we discussed. Just make sure we're hugging that right side. Sorry, I'm being confusing with how I'm wording my positioning things.
Healing stream engaged. Boosting up.
Barrier is about to break.
Yeah, there we ran into the problem of like just being too far away from our teammates who needed healing, and then we had kind of delayed and inaccurate shots on them. Okay, fight's over. Might want to be looking to back up.
Oh my.
Get in here.
Okay. Now I did get booped out of it anyways, but a little bit delayed with the Immor.
You all look like you needed some healing.
Yeah. If high ground is if you're just being contested up on the high ground and it's not
drop back
giving
down.
you value, just drop down, right? Like if there's a Widowmaker shooting at you and you
With
don't have
roll.
shields or anything
Yeah.
like that, right? Like there's not much you can do there, right? You're being contested, so give it up.
The payload has reached the checkpoint.
Group up here. Group up with me.
Let them out. It's you or me. What is that melody?
This is Heroes Never Die.
Let me show you how it's done. All better. Now.
Yep. Really concentrate on those immortalities, right? It's a really important ability, and it's basically a second ultimate, right? So we really want to put effort into making sure those are landing and getting value, and looking for situations where they're gonna get value. I definitely think that was a situation where it would have been very good to use. We just didn't have it make it land. Okay, here we're down like 3 people. This is where we're looking to back up, regroup.
Observe the barrier. Get in here. Get in the immortality field.
Yeah. So in that situation, I think our team kind of backed off really slowly, so we didn't have everyone back with us, right? So make sure we're being careful of in taking engagement so we don't have people with us. On top of that, reacting to Widowmaker on top of us a little bit faster again in that scenario probably would have been good. You have the possibility to duel her there as well. I mean, you're not if Widowmaker's right next to you, you honestly have the advantage in that. So like here, I'm pretty sure there's Widow like on the high ground next to you.
You all look like you needed some healing.
Oh Jesus.
The payload has reached the checkpoint.
Oh, one more bullet.
Oh my gosh, one one hit. I did not really expect to go in there, so it was like and see their whole team.
It's not over yet.
That's an awareness problem there.
Yep.
So much going on
Have
at
we-
once.
Yeah. So it's mainly audio awareness at that point, is keeping our ears open.
Yeah, I think my game's a little unbalanced. Yeah, I just turned it out. There's
Let me show you.
when I'm playing this, I usually have the game sounds a little bit louder, but when I'm on Discord, I lower it.
Okay.
Barrier is about to break. Let them out. It's you or me.
How you did that.
Yeah, very nice.
Reach in first. I'm on fire.
Good ultimate usage there.
Going up.
Honestly, Window's been looking very solid so far.
Reverting personality
Echo online.
I'm here.
Let me show you how it's
Ability
done.
increased.
Get in here! What is that melody? Regen up!
Right on target.
Get a little far away from the fight here. Might be a good idea to like take top left. Yeah, perfect. Right, because from here we just have
Alright, hit
visit.
something.
Yeah, so from here we just pretty much check off most of the boxes, right? We can see most of everything. We have good cover usage. We can put the enemy team out of line of sight if we need to, right? We have like, you know, decent escape option just by dropping to our team.
Burning them down.
So the only thing we got to do is just watch for like their line of sight and make sure we're not overstaying our welcome here.
Get in here! Regen burst activated.
I need healing. My thanks. Ever get that feeling?
Let them up. Take your medicine.
Yeah, make sure shooting through our ult. Shoot under the card if you'd like there.
Ability increased. Duplicating Reinhardt.
Get in here!
Oh gosh.
You all look like you needed some healing.
Alright, unfortunately, I just kind of pressed Q at the end there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think during that last fight we got like a little bit confused at some certain points. Like we ended up staring at the floor a little bit. Like I
Oh
think we were
yeah,
thinking about using
I
our
was
ult and
thinking about so much.
yeah, yeah. So yeah, just making sure we're keeping a level head. Paying attention to what's going on. Well, good play of the game. I think that's when you
Thanks.
killed Lucio.
Barrier is about to break.
So ultimate's honestly been looking very fine. Pog. Oh, is that hacks? I think I saw a flick to the head there.
Yeah. Nice.
All right. So yeah, one more. You probably hop into one more here. We got like 6 more minutes to go over some more stuff.
Okay. Is there a way to see individually how many hours of Baptiste I have? It's probably less than an hour.
Yeah, you should be able to see that in your career profile. If I go to your career profile in all modes, you have scan. Baptiste, you have 5 hours.
Oh, probably for mystery heroes. I like it. I like his toolkit. It's really interesting. It's very fast paced. If you want it to be, you know.
Yeah, I mean it's definitely he has the capability of being both fast paced and slow paced. He's weird.
Yeah.
No dying on my watch.
Definitely feels like he has more like evasive capabilities than like Ana or
Yep,
something
definitely.
like that.
Attack commences in 30 seconds.
No, he's big old vertical.
Stick to the plan. And if you get into trouble, I'll bail you out.
I think I hear rockets.
Oh. Like the audio awareness. Good job. Now have that in game.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Attack commencing. Escort the payload. Assistance requested.
I'm overloaded. Work hard on that.
You're fully healed.
Make sure you're watching kill feed, right? Fight's over, looking to get out. Don't want to be sticking in there after we're already down 3 people. In fact, we kind of got aggressive after we were down 3 people.
Time to let off some steam. Work hard on that.
Regen burst activated.
Turning up my heat.
I learned that from my mom. Enemy in my sight.
Oh my.
Yep, not looking to push at the moment, right? We're just gonna keep up the stagger train if we ended and died. Okay, coming up on our ult, so we're thinking of using it soon here.
Amplification matrix.
Okay,
almost
team's
shot.
got some picks, so we can start to play more aggressive.
Let them out. Run one back. Regen up.
I didn't hear her that time.
Yeah, I think that's
So
because it's possible she did like a free fall there, right? So,
yeah.
dropping in makes no sound. But she does. We still want to make sure we're paying attention to the fact that she has her ultimate. Maybe the fact that I don't see her or know where she's at, right? Or before she goes into the free fall, listening for her.
Regen burst activated.
Cease your resistance.
Soldier 76 reporting for duty.
Okay, haven't been getting a bunch of immortality usage. In fact, I don't know if I've seen us using it much. Make sure we're looking to use it.
Team up for special attack.
Get in here.
Pay attention to the soldier who's like an inch from you there.
You all look like you needed some healing.
Yeah, so soldier just kind of like sprinted into the middle of your team there, and we just kind of ignored him. So keep making sure we're keeping up awareness. We've discussed keep paying attention to. I'll ask the question after we get done the game. But
Whew. Not my time. Oh, let's break it.
Are you frightened?
Let them up. Regen up.
yeah, very nice.
Come here and get stabilized.
Oops.
Hold on. Get in here. You all look like you needed some healing. Crash in the fight.
Shot your visor out.
Helden sterben nicht.
Goodness.
All right. So we have like 40 seconds left, so I'll let you finish the game here, or if you
Yeah, it won't
end
take
up
long.
capping, yeah, if you end up capping, then then we'll leave. Have we discussed how to focus in the improvement application process before?
Like a focus improvement? No, I haven't.
Okay.
If I could make a suggestion.
That's unfortunate because I don't know. Apparently it's a trend that I keep not doing this with people because I assume I've done it already. So I'm glad I keep double checking. All right. So as soon as this is done,
Yeah, it's GG.
take a look. So firstly, let's discuss application, right? How do you look to get better at things? I guess even before we get to that, we're gonna rush through the end credit stuff since we're gonna be running a little bit short on time here. But
No waste
firstly, just in the case I haven't gone over this before, for sound settings, right? Up your normal volume if needed, lower your music volume, or turn it off. That usually just clutters the sound, is all that does. Make sure you have surround sound enabled for your headset. If it is not an option, turn on Dolby Atmos for headphones. This is all ringing a bell, or we haven't talked about this yet?
I some of the settings, but not the sound settings. Hold on.
Yep.
I got you. Okay,
Yep.
so I got the in game
So turn up in-game, music volume low or off.
off.
Dolby Atmos for make sure you have surround sound enabled on your headset. If it's not an option, Dolby Atmos for headphones is the in-game equivalent. And then finally, you could have all these settings be absolutely garbage and still have good audio awareness if you keep your ears open and you listen. So making sure you're paying attention to footsteps and gunshots and abilities and ultimates. And overall here, well, you might be thinking, well, Boogie, awareness sounds like a pretty vague concept, right? Like we've talked about awareness like 5 times before, and I'm sorry we haven't gone over this yet before. But like, how do I actually look to apply awareness? How do I get that good, right? Because isn't that just looking at stuff? How do I get better at looking at stuff? Well, you get better at awareness the exact same way that you get better at anything that you're looking to get better at, and that is while you were playing. Going back a little bit, you get better at it same way you get better at anything in game or out of game, right? And that is you focus on it while you are playing, right? That means that you're not going to autopilot, you're not going to just play to play, and contrary to popular belief, you're not going to just purely play to win, as when you do that, you just end up stagnating and not going anywhere, whereas when you play to improve, you end up actually going places and winning more, right? Now, what that looks like within your own gameplay is you're going to be thinking awareness, 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 right? And giving yourself a constant stream of reminders to pay attention to your surroundings, right? And when you think about paying attention to your surroundings more, well, you end up paying attention to your surroundings more. You end up looking around and being aware of your surroundings. This makes your awareness better. When you keep this up for a certain amount of time, you will form it as a positive habit. Once it forms as a habit, you no longer need to put as much effort and thought into it. It will just come naturally, and you can now move on to something else to work on. Right now, I would recommend have talked about and will be talking about a bunch of things. Don't try to do everything all at once, that will get overwhelming. Instead, focus on one category of things or 1 to 3 smaller things within a category. That way you can improve. This all making sense? And just again checking, have we ever talked about that before? Does that ring a bell?
Yeah, I mean, like for instance, Zarya, like we talked about this last time because I asked
Mhm.
specifically, like it's hard to focus on everything at once, and you mentioned that like for instance, Zarya is pretty useless if you're not using her bubbles correctly. You know what I mean? So I need to focus more on like energy levels, maintaining, and then using my bubbles for defensive once my energy is up. And I
Yeah.
think that like every game that I've gone in with Zarya so far, I've been focusing just on that. And then like obviously when I have my ult, I'm focusing on where to use it. You know what I mean? Like this, I'm doing like you said, which was changing my um, you know, mentality based on what I have or where I'm at right now. Like so if I don't have energy, then I'm focused on getting energy. So I'm with Zarya, I'm definitely better balancing that. So I understand it, but I don't think we went into like more detail to that.
Yeah, so I mean, definitely recommend apply all these points. One other additional point is that you can focus on different things if they're completely unrelated, right? 2 different categories. So an easy example of this is ultimate usage. Typically, you're only going to be using your ultimate. You're only going to be thinking about it for like 10 seconds every like 2 minutes, right? Which is not a lot. Whereas your ability usage, right, you're going to be using pretty much throughout your entire game, and your awareness you're going to be using throughout the entire game, and your positioning using throughout the entire game, right? So if you try to focus on your ultimate usage and your ability usage, that works because they're very unrelated. You can be using them during different times. They don't overlap a ton. Whereas if you try to focus on awareness and ability usage, that is going to overlap a ton, and therefore it wouldn't work out as well because you get overwhelmed. That makes sense too?
Yep.
All right. So, real quick, because we are running short on time here, let's just put us all in an order for what you need to work on Baptiste. Number one thing for you to work on, thinking through that real quick, probably say awareness still, right? I think that was what we have been going over as well, but just making sure we're applying all this stuff, putting extra effort and attention into what's going on around us. Number two, I'd probably say goes to your ability usage. It's primarily your immortality field, making sure we're getting good value out of that, as immortality is super important. Think about when do I want to use it, and making sure we're actually getting it to the person, right? Because sometimes you would have, sometimes you would just completely miss opportunities, and then other times we would see the opportunity but just miss the immortality and it wouldn't hit them, right? Or we'd hit them and then it would go down immediately, right? So you want to put good effort into that. It's a really important part of your kit. 3 would probably put that at your positioning, right? Cover usage, high grounds, checking off all these different boxes in our head, right? And making sure we're standing in a good spot close to our team on Baptiste. Then we probably have mechanics, making sure that we are not overhealing, making sure that we are just generally working on mechanics, shoot whenever healing's not needed, making sure we're aiming at feet and trying to hit direct shot, or not, yeah, aiming at feet, trying to hit direct shots. And then finally we have ultimate usage. Honestly, ultimate usage is looking fairly solid. Only thing I would say with ultimate usage wasn't nothing on placement. Placement was fantastic. Just sometimes you would hold on to it, and that was pretty much it, right? Don't make sure we're getting that out there. It's an ability. It's an ultimate that'll charge very, very fast, so get it very frequently. And on top of that, you don't want to hold on to ultimates, so just use it early in fights. Don't hold on to it, and then you'll be good on that. That all makes sense. Any questions on anything we've gone over?
No, that's perfect.
All right. So then I will stop the recording.